Hey, good morning, Shlog fans. Welcome to episode number 32 with Morgan from Highland Cycles. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you like what we're doing here, go ahead and subscribe. That would be awesome. We are getting dangerously close to 2,000 subscribers. When we hit 2,000 subscribers, we are going to be giving away a hat and hoodie combo. I haven't decided exactly how I want to do that yet, so comment below on what you think the criteria ought to be or what kind of game we ought to play to give it away. But make sure you share this channel with your friends so we get to 2,000. I got big plans for 5,000, 10,000, and on up. So I'm going to start the day on my motorcycle. Thanks to Mr. Cody Joseph, who sent me this. I am so stoked to try it out. Pro Seal air filter gasket. We're going to be putting it on Daisy here. So join me as I learn. I've never actually put one of these on. I know how they work. I've seen them on bikes, but I've never actually installed one. So it'll be fun. We'll learn together. So that greasy mess is what Cody is trying to help us get away from. And I don't mind that idea. I also don't mind the mess that much because a little bit of grease on the inside of your air intake, you know, the air box is not such a bad, I mean, it's not going to blow anything up. But I really like the idea of having it be cleaner. So I'm going to open these the package up and read the instructions, but I'm guessing the first thing I've got to do is super duper clean that surface. So the instructions are right there. Make sure the rim is clean, peel back the paper, lightly align, press it on. But there's some extra stuff in here, so I'm not sure what that's all for. This is cool. So it says warning, air box must be cleaned with quick drying solvent, such as contact brake cleaner, or the Pro Seal will not stick. Use the enclosed sample. Haha, nice. To check adhesion before applying. So that's cool. Starting to look pretty good. But I think, like with graphics and lots of other stickery kind of things where you want to adhese something, taking your time is like the biggest deal. So we're going to take our time and make sure that gets super, super clean and really, really dry. I'm actually going to use some soap and water and then go back with the brake cleaner so we know for a fact we've got the thing right on the money. Hopefully just one more time with brake clean. Then, since we have it, it's nice and clean, and it feels like it's sticking pretty good, and I think that if we put it on there and let it sit, it'd probably be fine. But I'm going to, if I can find it, get my heat gun and kind of warm the area up really good before I stick it on there, just because cold and sticky stuff doesn't always mix. So I'm going to hunt down my heat gun. I'm not sure where I put it. I've been doing some reorganizing, and that's always great. Obviously, a hair dryer would work just fine for this too. I just have a heat gun, so I'm using it. Feels relatively warm. I'm gonna go and warm it up a little bit more. Check this out, man. This thing fits awesome. Like, let's see. Fits just right. Really happy about that. So now, it says we push on it real nice and hard. And get it to stick, and that rubber is nice and warm that it's sticking to. And I think that, as with installing graphics, you know, when you put them on, you don't want to just like jump on the bike and go ride it right away, because you'll probably they won't be stuck. It needs a little time for it to really adhere. So I think we'll just leave this like this for a little bit before we put the air filter back in. Actually, what I am going to do, now that I think about it, since the idea is to go without using grease on the lip, actually am going to service the air filter, get it all nice and clean, and then leave that lip dry. I'm going to put a little bit of air filter oil on it, but instead of grease. So get that grease off of there now. So I'm going to go ahead and service that thing. Let that hang out for a little bit. And then next we're going to be working on the old RFS motored KTM. So stick with us for the video. Should be good. Don't have too terrible much to do to it. It's mainly good, but got to swap some tires and fix a countershaft seal leak. So we'll get to that here in just a second. So now it is time to work on the 450 RFS Motored XC. So we got a bunch of things to do this, which is cool. So you want the full service, which for us is, we go through everything. I mean, everything from the spokes to the oil, air filter, everything. It does not include a valve adjustment. That is actually a separate thing. And I don't think he's got that on here. I think we did that actually not too terribly long ago on this bike. I got a countershaft oil leak. That's easy enough to take care of and frequent. We've got to swap wheels. He's got two rear wheels. He's got a good tire on a wheel that he brought in, and then we've got a paddle tire to put on the wheel we're taking off, because he's going to go to some sand dunes, which is cool. And fix auxiliary light. Oh, he's got these lights right here. I guess the switch isn't working all the time, so we got to fix that. And the front brake is spongy. There we go. Got a bunch of work to do, so let's get to it. So, since it's an air filter kind of day, actually this one's not that bad. It looks bad, like right here, like we're looking at it, it doesn't look great. But honestly, in our kind of dirt, the super fine dirt that we have, that could happen in a day. But that is something, when it looks like that, service it. Just saying. You know, like I said, I think I'm going to try to mention air filters at least once a day. Air filters. Alright, just real quick. When you're doing a big service on a bike and you've got lots of things to do, and one of those things is air filter service, do it first, because now it's wet, right? We can go hang it up outside or wherever and let it dry, so that by the time we're done, it's ready to go. Just a quick tip for you guys. Currently working on diagnosing the lights. I'm letting the air filter do its thing. I got all the bits off of the bike, the wheels off. Probably next I'll do countershaft seal, but figure let's take a look at these lights in case there's something I need to order. I don't think so. So he said that the switch is working sporadically. I verified it's not doing anything right now. Also verified that it was hooked directly to the battery, and that the battery has 12 volts in it. It does try to start the bike, so there's plenty of juice to turn some lights on. So generally on a light switch, like especially in this situation, there's just either power coming to it and then power going to the rest of the lights, and you're just connecting the two wires, or there's a ground coming up and then the ground, you're just connecting two wires. Like, that's all this does, is touch two wires together. At least that's what it's supposed to do. So if you find the pigtail, like where it goes, and undo it, you should be able to just jump the two leads here. Now, here's what I found when I unplugged it. Lots of corrosion. Lots of corrosion. So that's actually a good sign. That means probably we can clean it up and it's going to work just fine. So I'm going to try to jam this, what I like to call Yama clip, paper clip, into these two wires and connect them and see if the lights come on. So join me in finding out. Haha! That means the lights are good. It also probably means the switch is just fine. So we're going to test that. I'll show you how we test it. I'll show you how we do it with a multimeter. Going to set our meter to continuity. We could also do the beep. That would be good. We'll do the beep because that's fun. I don't actually use the beep that often, but you put it here and that'll tell you if you get any continuity. We'll take our two leads. We're going to set this down. The nice thing about the beep is we'll just hear it. And then I can't really, anyway, inside there are two pins, so we're gonna hook up, touch those, and when it's off, it should not make any sound. Okay, now I'm gonna turn the switch on and touch those two. And there we go, you hear that beep? That means it's working. So the only real problem was all that corrosion. So now we're gonna clean it up real good. All right, got some contact cleaner. Gonna really hammer these things and then use some dielectric grease when we go back together. So hopefully that kind of thing doesn't happen again. The other thing we're gonna do is take a little bit of emery cloth and clean those pins off just a little bit. It's kind of hard to do, but you can get in there. Yeah, tear this. Make a little bitty one, fold it, make a little sandwich out of it, and you can slide that over the pin. I was gonna put dielectric grease on this thing, but I'm out, so I just called Napa. They're bringing me some. So while we're waiting on that, see that axle? It's gnarly. It's all old and rusty and greasy, and it's normal though. It's a good thing it's greasy. That's a good thing. It actually came out just fine. A little bit stiff, but this is one of those parts that you can put into the ultrasonic cleaner and have it come out super duper nice looking. So I've done this before, but I'm gonna show you how I measure my Fabuloso for the ultrasonic. So got her heating up. It's hard to see, but I got the temp set at 65 degrees Celsius. It's on its way. It's at 42 minute, whatever. A bunch of minutes, doesn't really matter. So I store it, if it's clean, I store it just with, you know, just water in it. Then we take our Fabuloso and we go like this. That's the exact right amount. So, and we'll take the basket just to make it easier to get things out. Take our axle, dump it in there. Axle nut, because why not? Have that in there. Hit the go button. And we will walk away from it. So let's work on the countershaft seal. I think I've done one of these before, but on the YouTubes, but I'll show you again. Because it's probably a little bit different. So, looks like someone was smart and cut that on purpose so you could get that off. That's cool. So I'm going to take that off, take the sprocket off. Fortunately, since we have the wheel off, the chain is loose. We'll be able to pull this and get it out of the way without undoing a ton of stuff. So yeah, we'll start with that guy. I'll try to make the snap-on guy happy today and use an impact instead of just my chrome socket. By the way, if you guys see me using chrome sockets with impacts and you're cringing because you're like, oh yeah, that's not what it's supposed to be for. I know, but you know what? I get free ones if I break it, so I'm not worried about it. That's why I buy stuff from Snap-on. Stuff like that, stuff like sockets and things like that. It's because I'm going to break it eventually, and it's nice to just hand it back to them and get a new one. Definitely leaking. You can see the pool of Earl right there. Get that kind of out of the way and disassemble. Haha, nice. Now we got a whole kit for this, but honestly, 8.5 times out of 10, that's an exact, that's a 100% for sure statistic. Anyway, it's really the O-ring in there that's causing the leak, because this little groove in there, you know, it goes on there, squishes, And a lot of times the seal's okay. It's just coming through this part, right? Because the O-ring isn't tight enough because it gets old and hot and flat and whatever. But we're going to do everything anyway. So you guys can't probably really tell on the camera, but that thing is not round anymore in that orientation. So that's probably what doing it, but now we're fresh. Now we're going to clean this area. And honestly, I'm going to do it with a whole bunch of brake clean because I know it drove a bunch of you guys nuts when I did that before. Oh, and it made me laugh. Because it's all you're spraying the brake clean in the motor and it's going to blow up and oh my God. First of all, no, it's not. Second of all, I haven't even changed the oil on this, and that's part of what we're doing to it. But yeah, that brake clean, there's not that much in there. And when it goes in there and this oil gets hot, that brake clean is going to evaporate and go away very fast and not cause any damage. But I'm going to use a bunch of brake clean right now. Evil brake clean. I like these kits because they come with a new bushing, new cupped washer, which is really important. 2 O-rings. It's just in case you're dealing with a different size bike. And then an OEM style seal, metal seal. So it's really good, super good setup. I like to start with the seal. And I like to put a little bit of blue Loctite around this edge to help this. It's kind of like a sleeve retainer and helps it really seal up good. One of the keys to this working, for this thing, the whole situation to seal, is that this cup washer be cupped enough. And that's why it's so cool that these kits come with a new one, because if this isn't cupped enough, it won't push hard enough on that sprocket to then, you know, keep tension on that O-ring. So it's cool that they come with a new one. It's also important, as you put it on, you can see that there's a shoulder here. That has to go in there. And it won't at first. Put a little Loctite on that bolt too. So as you see, it kind of hangs down like that. That's all right. It's just as you get there, you need to hold it up and make sure that goes into its home. Just like that. Bing! Sweet. Now, Napa brought us some dielectric grease. Let's drop this sucker down and fix these lights, see if they work with the switch. Plug this guy together. See how we're getting some flickering. And we have another issue inside there. So what we might do is, I mean, I like this plug because, I mean, it's kind of a nice plug. It may just not be our best setup. I'm going to take this apart and see if I can't fix these things a little bit better. If not, we're just going to make a new connection there. Okay, so I pinched those things down. I cleaned them. It's just worn out or something. Anyway, so I'm doing new connectors. We solder those things on there, get everything dialed, and then we'll just solve the problem and move on. All right, check it out. There we go. Lights work every time. Doesn't matter what you do to this. Super happy. So while this is definitely not nearly as clean as the other plug, what we're going to do is take some electrical tape and wrap around the whole rig to protect this. And then if ever need be, we can undo the electrical tape, pop those loose, do what we need to do. So one problem down. Actually, well, 2 problems. We got the countershaft seal fixed. Now we got the lights fixed. Moving on. Super stoked. It's Saturday, so we don't get UPS, but we do get the mail, and bing, this thing just showed up. So excited to try this thing out. It's not for me, it's for this gentleman, Mr. Williams, and we will be putting that on here. I'm just going to take a break from all this other stuff and do this right now because this thing's cool, and I'm going to show you how brilliant and how easy these things are to install and deal with. Yeah, dude, this is awesome.
I got a girl, and she is so fine. When the sun says it's daylight, oh, the moon says it's night.
And what's super cool about this is it's got a spot and a flood, and each of them are adjustable by themselves. Like my light that I have, which I love, they're both mounted in the same housing, so the whole thing has to move, and it works just fine, don't get me wrong. But this is super cool because you can, like, if you want the spot further out and the flood closer in, you can do that. It's really, really cool. But let me show you, honestly, like the best part of this whole rig. So, the best thing about the motor-minded kit is it is truly just plug and play. The plug that was originally for the headlight, just like that, I believe we should be good to go. So let's test it before we pick it all back up. Got the key. Boom! Look at that. Watch this. I bet this thing is that smart. Hang on. Or the spot, excuse me. Let's try high beams. Ha ha ha! Dude. Yes! Motor-minded for the win. Chris Vessel. Awesome job. That is cool. Like, see, you guys saw how easy that was to install. It takes like no time at all. And bang, you're good to go. That is awesome. Oh man. Yes, 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 yes. That is so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna strap it back up, get it to go. Also, we got in the mail the correct size DIRTBIKES sprocket for the rear. We've been waiting on that. It's a 48. He likes to run taller gearing since this is more of a dual sport bike for him. So that's cool. So we got that. We also got a pile of parts for his Trail 70, same guy, from mytrailbuddy.com. So we got a bunch of work to do. It was awesome. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm going to finish buttoning this thing back up. Then we'll get back over to the KTM 450 with the RFS motor. All right, time to look at our axle. Oh yeah, that's better. The ultrasonic doesn't get rid of the rust and stuff, but it gets rid of all that grease and extra stuff. Now we can clean it really good with some brake clean and a little bit of emery cloth, and this thing will look like a brand new. There we go. Looks good. That stuff's just pitting, but that'll be fine. Get some good grease on that when we slide her back in. Be good to go. All right, now I got the air filter done on the 450 KTM, but now I'm going to install the air filter onto old Daisy here. Check out that Pro Seal, man. That thing fits so good and looks good. I'm excited. And here is the air filter. No grease on it. Now, I did definitely put air filter oil around the rim because I'm just not going to not do that. But I think that makes sense anyway. I didn't read anything else on the Pro Seal that says not to do that. So, but yeah, so I'm going to install this thing. I think it's going to be good. There we go. Reach back in. Always want to just take your hand, leave your gloves on, take your hand and go around the rim. Make sure everything is sealed up because, I mean, that little extra time could save you an entire motor. I can't tell you how many people have brought in bikes and they haven't done that and there's been a gap because it's off or whatever. It's a lot harder on these brand new style with the way the nubbin goes in up here and all that, but you still could do it. And anyway, I've seen a lot of blown up engines that way, so just take your time, do it right. Let's get back to the 450 KTM. Swapped out the wheel. It had that one on it, and he brought me this one, so we put that on, so we're all good to go. Now we're going to be putting that paddle tire over in the background onto this. Quick tip before I change that tire, I'm putting a new spark plug in here and I just took the cap off, and it was kind of grimy and stuff. But even if it's not grimy or anything like that, you definitely want to take an air hose if you have one, and you should have one in your shop. If it's a really good idea if you can. But you want to come in here and that gets all the junk and stuff out of there, so when you take the old spark plug out, nothing falls into the motor. I know it sounds super simple, but a lot of people don't do it. The old RFS fired right up, which is awesome. And now, so on the work order it said needed a new radiator cap, but when I went to take the old radiator cap off, I noticed that it wasn't on all the way. It was kind of like that. And you can see if you look, there's two little black marks. That's where it's supposed to be, and that's where it was. So I don't think it was on quite all the way. And I think that was causing it to maybe leak. We're gonna run it till it gets nice and hot and see how long it takes before it spits some coolant out. But my guess is that with that all the way on, the cap will actually be just fine. So now we're gonna warm it up anyway. We need to warm it up to get the oil nice and warm so we can drain the oil, change the oil. Air filter's all good and happy now. Right tire's on. The lights are working. So yeah, we're making good progress. Might even have this thing done today. That'd be cool. Good old motor, man. There's some things that I don't love about the RFS motor, but honestly, reliability-wise, it's a pretty good motor. If you take good care of it, it's a good motor. I guess that's kind of like, honestly, these days there are very few motors out there that if you don't take care, like if you just take good care of them, they'll be fine. Ooh, look, there's steam. So that's a little early. It's dripping, so so that is definitely early. It shouldn't be blowing out that easy, so no big deal. It's dripping right there because the way KTM's work, the overflow is right here, and it goes to the frame, and it's just open, and out of the frame it drops right onto the head pipe. Arguably not the greatest design, but whatever. So yeah, that's definitely a little early. It shouldn't be blowing off that easy. I might just try it with a different radiator cap and something here, make sure that that's going to fix it. Got a 500 over here that I can borrow just to do a check. Alright, now we'll let that idle. See if it blows off that easy. If it does, and that's a good cap, we got something else to find out what's wrong. But I bet that would be fine. No smoke. That's good. Looks like it was just the cap. Well, that's awesome. That's actually really, really cool for him. So yeah, stoked about that. Got the 450 XC pretty much all the way done. Oil changed. Nothing to really show there. It was all pretty normal and standard. So got that done. Got everything done on it. You know, the radiator cap works. I stole it off another bike. We got another one, a new one coming. So I'll put that back on. But yeah, everything else is good. Got this tire on. I do still have to change. I do still have to put the paddle tire on that wheel, but I'll do that on Tuesday, so you guys get to see that if you want. But yeah, I think it's all good. So great day at the shop. Getting to work on dirt bikes is what I absolutely love to do. It's second only to riding dirt bikes. So thank you guys so much for joining me for the Daily Shlog. It's Saturday. It's time for me to go home. It's actually my son's 11th birthday today, so we're going to go out as a family and do fun stuff. Can't wait. You guys have an awesome day. Get out, spread the gospel of two wheels, and please, I'm really not kidding anymore. I'm not joking around. You got to go ride your dirt bikes!